Hello and welcome to another video and podcast from Fantasy Football Scout. Today it's all about Sky Sports Fantasy Football. £50,000 up for grabs for the winner. We've overhauled, we all did well, and then Game Week 7 came and we all did badly. Well, I did anyway, Luke didn't. Luke did much better than I did. But yeah, basically the reality of Sky has hit. So there's a number of people who have started playing this game, this format this season, and are going, I can't believe how easy Sky is. It's amazing. And then suddenly Game Week 7 happened. So it was Game Week. Yeah, it was Game Week 7, yeah. Always get confused with the FPL game weeks. But yeah, it was Game Week 7 last time around. Game Week 8 is coming up. So yeah, we're going to be looking at Game Week 8. My name is Joe. Joining me is Luke. Luke, how are you doing?
I'm okay. I mean, considering it was a pretty dire weekend of football across the board, really, wasn't it? Just in terms of watching, FPL, Sky, everything really. Not great overall. Lots of sort of low-scoring games and not many points for the popular players. Basically, it was the week for Patrick Bamford, wasn't it?
Yeah.
If you've got him, and I suppose if you did own him, you may have even had him as captain, seeing as though it was a solo game.
Yeah.
He's absolutely smashed it out of the park. So fair play if you had him, because he is 8.2 million and it's very, very cheap. And to be honest, he's very tempting to me, even though their fixtures aren't particularly good. It's such a cheap price for a starting striker.
Yeah.
That he does tempt me.
Yeah, I mean, the reason I didn't go with him, and I'm still not considering him, is because I always think in Sky, where do I run away from? How do I get away from them? So if Bamford as a striker goes, then I'm definitely looking really at a midfielder or defender. So I'm looking at a bit of a restructure there. And for me personally, I've got Kane, Calvert-Lewin and Salah up front. And as marvellous as Bamford was last game week, I don't think he's a better option than any of those three. So it would have to be a very good player, good captaincy option for a number of game weeks to remove any of those three. So what we're going to do, we're going to look ahead to Game Week 8. We're going to look a little bit beyond. We've got some more fixtures to consider as well, so they've been announced. Maybe some more changes will take place. We'll also consider our captaincy plans, latest bonus point magnets, and answer your questions. So before we have a look at our teams, just I've got some bonus point stars to read out and some of the man of the matches. We got Webster, Cancelo, Silva, Henderson, Zaha, Redmond, Murphy, Kane, Vardy and Bamford all won man of the matches. The interesting thing there is those new to Sky, this is how it happens. Basically, these sort of boring, quite good at passing and tackling type players will tend to get it. Also, the big stars that like Bamford, who the strikers that nail it, getting lots of goals in there, they will always get it. So yeah, Kane and Vardy, not surprised there. Bamford, that would have been a brave man of the match picker to look at that Leeds match and go, nah, I don't think Bamford deserves it. But yeah, we have known that to happen before. No great surprises there. It was passing tier 2. There were 24 players, so it was. I don't know what that indicates how boring the game week was.
Yeah, I think it does, doesn't it?
There was
a lot of passing around back fives, basically.
Lots and lots of passing around. 24 players. Ones that caught my eye, Diaz again. You mentioned him last week. He's getting those bonus again. Wolves in general did well. A lot of passing. Kilman at Wolves. Nice little enabler. Is he nailed? I want to see him for another week or so. Because in Sky, I do not want to be using a precious transfer. Getting in a player who's going to be rotated. Saves tier 2. Martinez, Fabianski and Areola. Now, Fabianski is someone that people might be interested in if we think that Antonio is going to be out for a while. You want to get West Ham coverage and you want to move your goalkeeper. I'm not keen on moving goalkeepers around, but if you are lacking a bit of West Ham coming up and you fancy the look of Fabianski, he is good for saves. One to consider. Tackles tier 2, Masuaku, Lamptey, Cash, Kufau, West Ham again. Townsend has turned into like the tackle king for game week. I don't know whether that's going to continue. Almiron and shots tier 2, just 2, Bamford and Zaha. Considering Palace failed to get a single shot from open play the week before, I'm gonna call that a surprise, seeing
Yeah.
Zaha in there. Out of all of those names you mentioned, any of those appeal? Anyone?
Yeah, there's a few. I mean, it's hard. I suppose we have to talk about Zaha because he is out of position, as in he's a midfielder and he's up top. He apparently can hit shot tiers, even though, like you said, the week before there was none. And he seems to be on penalties as well. And the fixtures are still so good. And I've just completely overlooked him just because I've gone on what I know from past history of Zaha, which is most of the time he will look good for about a 3 or 4 match period and then largely be disappointing. And I keep expecting that to happen. And it's not really happening. Now, there has been a season in the past where Zaha did do actually pretty well and got quite a few man of the matches. And it looks like we might be in one of those. So I suppose I have to just keep an open mind. The problem is the fixtures keeps going along, and how long do you wait? Because then by the time you get him, have you missed the boat? But yeah, I don't think we can deny that Zaha's a good option. Same as Bamford. It just continues to be very good options for their price. As for the West Ham defence, you've mentioned there Masuaku and Kufal, who's very cheap. I think he's 6.1.
He is. I've got my eye on Kufal should I need to free up some funds.
Yeah, so I think of all of them, even though Masuaku's on left wing back and is taking the odd shot, I think Cresswell, even though he's a little bit more expensive, is probably the best pick just because he's on free kicks, corners, stuff like that. So we'll probably just trickle in the odd assist more reliably than the others. But when it comes to budget, I think Kufal is probably the most interesting. He is a hard tackler. I think he picked up a couple of yellow cards already, so that would be the worry that you might get some 1-pointers or even a red card. But for tackle tier and they're good fixtures, he's looking like a great option. Cash is there as well, like you just said. I keep mentioning Cash. I do think that he is the better pick over Konsa, who picked up tier 2 tackles again. It's exactly for those reasons. When they do lose, he's still going to get you points, whereas Konsa's not. And Kilman is the other one that you mentioned that it's almost like it's too good to be true. I don't know whether I should go there now. In this situation, I feel like these are the kind of players that you need to have taken the risk on to start with. It's better to start with these guys, and then if they come out of the team, you only have to use one swap to get rid of them. Yeah. Whereas in our situation, we could then use a swap to get them in, and then they go out of the team, and then you have to use another one to get them out. And I don't want to be in that situation.
Especially not a player like that. A player you're not going to captain. He's an enabler. Yeah, 2 transfers. There's 40 transfers for the whole season. 2 on Kilman. 1, I'm okay with. 2, no.
I suppose the bottom line is if he is going to be nailed, then it's a very good use of a transfer, and you should move as soon as possible. Yeah. But for me, I think, like you, I think I'm going to leave it at least 1 or 2 weeks. They've just signed too many players that can play that position and left wing back for my liking. Even though they're a little bit unknown, a little bit injury prone. Some of them are young, including him. It's a tricky situation. I think the best thing is just to wait and see, to be honest. But if he's picking up, that defence is one of the best, and he's picking up passing tier in a back 3 for that price, then that is an absolute gift. And if that's the case, then we're going to have to go there, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Especially because my Wolves coverage at the moment is Patricio, which is fine, ticking over. But then if they concede last minute, I'm missing out there. But on that theme as well, let's move to your team, because you did really well, 77 points, which was good in a low scoring week. But I know you mentioned that you're quite frustrated owning Guita at the moment because he's conceded again.
It's been a nightmare, to be honest. Just for the people who are listening on pod, so I've got Guita in goal, Chilwell, Lamptey and Dallas at the back, Antonio, Barnes, Grealish and Rodriguez in midfield, and I've got Kane, Salah and Jimenez up top. I've actually got 4.5 million in the bank, which I started that way from overhaul, just wanted to be quite flexible. So I'm in the mood to spend it, but I'm not quite sure where, so I'm at a bit of a crossroads with my team. But I'm just going to talk through this week first of all. So Guita, again, another 1-pointer, so close to the clean sheet, 2 weeks in a row, like the last minute, so frustrating. The obvious pick was Martinez, and Martinez has double the points of Guita. So it's just a blunder. Guita now, since overhaul, has got 1 point back to back. So it's 2 points, whereas Martinez has got about 20 in that time. So I'd be flying up the leagues if I'd have had him, as I think most people do. Same for Meslier. I could just drop down, but is that not a good sign that they're almost getting a clean sheet and I've just been unlucky and he still could prove to be a decent keeper? I don't know.
I sometimes in these sort of instances with those sort of type of players, I look at the long term fixtures, and Palace's fixtures are still good. They will, and the fact they're conceding like last minute, I mean, that also indicates that they're not going to concede last minute some weeks. If they were just conceding 5 goals every week, then it's time to get rid, and they're making hardly any saves, conceding loads.
Well, that's been the kicker. He's not been picking up saves in these wins because they've been largely unchallenged, which is annoying because he's usually very good for saves. So he's not been getting saves or the clean sheets, which is obviously a recipe for disaster. But those fixtures are so good, and I still hold out that they're going to be one of those teams that will get the odd Friday game.
It's a tough one with Guita as well. His price is there
6.6.
6.6. So you could go down a tiny bit, but you don't. I could
go to Martinez or Messier or someone like that.
I think that's a move I would make further down the line when you need that money. If you want to get, I don't know, Fernandes in, you want to get a Man City player in, and you're 0.2 short. Bingo. That's a good use of getting a transfer, because you're not only solving a problem with your goalkeeper, you're using it to get in a captaincy option elsewhere. I mean, that's the way I've been playing Sky over the years. I've sometimes used it thinking, this player I can move on to this player and look for 2-for-1s. But sometimes I just use it where I think, basically the next 3 or 4 weeks I'm just not making any changes, and then I'm going to maybe make 3 in a go. And maybe I might need that extra 0.2 or 3, and it could be a chance. So I would stick if I were you until you need it. Your money bags at the moment. You don't need the money.
Yeah, I mean he's there for the fixtures. I suppose I have to see it out. It's just very, very frustrating. Chilwell, again, I'm happy with him. Another 9 points for him. I think his sort of points per appearance is probably one of the top 3 in the whole game at the moment. Largely off the back of his 22 points in his first game, of course. But happy with that. Lamptey, annoying. Brighton conceded again in the very last minute of an almost pointless goal, but at least he got tackles tier 2. Yeah. So I did have a plan to maybe switch him to Diaz with my extra money, and I'm still tempted to do that. However, that then basically kills my flexible captain option that I'll be using to switch around, and I won't have that luxury. He'll just become a perma Diaz. So I don't know which is more useful at the moment. Still debating that one. Dallas is there for the... again, 7 points this week. You got a clean sheet. He didn't get any tier bonus. That's the headline. That's not usually what Dallas does, but he's still got points. So I think he's got points every single week apart from...
such a reliable... That's another reason I'm not getting Bamford. I mean, I've got Dallas. Yeah,
exactly. He's great. So happy with him. Antonio, now this is the kicker, obviously scored again. Absolutely love this guy. Great fixtures coming up after the Liverpool game. Wanted him to be a permanent fixture in my team, but we know with Antonio he's always got these injury doubts, and we just don't know at the moment. So very much waiting on news for him, because depending on how long he's out for, it could completely change my plans, and that's why I kind of don't know what I'm doing until I get that information. I mean, if Antonio is out for literally 1 or 2 weeks, I'm probably just going to leave him in because I'm going to want him back, I think. But if we get a 5-6 weeker, obviously then I've got decisions to make. And I mean, I think Bowen is a pretty good make way, just straight to him.
He's 7.9, I believe. So nice easy transfer.
Yeah. Or with me, I can obviously spend that money and go to Kevin De Bruyne. Anyway, on to Barnes. Barnes has been really, really frustrating because in his first 3 games, he got shots here in every single one. He even get a 17-pointer. And then since overhaul, he's got 2 points, 2 points, 2 points. Or actually, no, sorry, the 4th game was in overhaul. So 2 points twice. But still, his last 3 games have been 2 points. He's not been getting the tiers. So suddenly I'm spending 8.2 million for a player who's not producing, and he's not picking me up any bonus. And it's really frustrating because I feel like the moment I take this guy out, it will revert. Because we will expect 2-pointers from midfielders. This is why a lot of us don't really like this kind of range. His backup was those shots, but they're just not happening for him at the moment.
That's a bit Leicester in general.
Do I keep the faith and see that he's going to start shooting, or what do I do with him?
I think once again you've got the money there. I mean, you can do Barnes to a Man City midfielder, De Bruyne.
Yeah.
So
the plan will be, in my mind, is either Barnes to De Bruyne, or if Antonio is out, then it will be Antonio to De Bruyne.
Yeah.
And then Jimenez, which we'll get to in a minute, will probably go to Ings, and I'll still have money in the bank if I do that. But that was kind of my process of thinking. But it just really depends on the Antonio one. And then if Antonio is out, it means Barnes still stays in my team, which I don't know if I'm happy about. But
I think.
What
I
can I
mean,
do?
I think give him this week. It's a reasonable. It's a reasonable fixture. He is your captain at the moment. It's the Monday night game. You got to see him out for this, but then I think you can reassess. I think it's a question of looking for those 2-for-1s maybe, or if there's get moving in for a captaincy option, because you've got that flexibility of the money as well. You've got that option there, but yeah, around you've got all the key ones around that price at the moment.
Well, Bamford's exactly the same price,
Well,
and that's what's teasing me.
But then, yeah, of course, you've got Jimenez and Salah and Kane there, so you're stocked up on the 3 slots. So it would involve moving one of those forwards.
So I could do Jimenez to Bruno Fernandes. I could do Barnes to Bamford, and then I could do Antonio to Kevin De Bruyne.
I know you've I mean, your foresight and planning is also a hindrance because the world is your
I've got
oyster.
too many options.
You just reeled up. You can get anyone. You can get Pele in if you want. You can get pretty much anyone you want.
I can do Lamptey to Diaz and Jimenez to Kevin De Bruyne. It's crazy. I just don't know which route I want to go down. That's why I've got too many options at the moment, and I feel like if I make my move now and I sort of go early, it could backfire. So I almost want to wait a week or two.
I'm looking at Man City myself in game week 11, I think it is in Sky. Whenever the Burnley
after
matches.
the international break.
After the international break, because also we want to see whether they come back in one piece. And then it's that Burnley game, and that's when I'm on, because Man City's fixtures from then on are really great for a number of game weeks, which is great in Sky. There's captaincy options there. That's when I'm not sure how I'm going to do it or what I'm going to do, but I've got my eye on De Bruyne there.
It's interesting you say that, because I'm in a group of people, and one of the guys in there was saying he's basically waiting until that period of time, and I thought, that makes sense. I mean, City don't look quite right at the moment. You get to, like you say, look at the international breaks. His fitness isn't 100% known, really. I know he played recently, so he should be okay, but it's always a chance when someone's only just come back from injury, right, that they might go back off again, like Aguero did, for example. But then it just still terrifies the life out of me. Even though the games are bad, I think they're playing Spurs. Is it Arsenal or someone? They've got 2 or 3 tough games. Certainly Spurs is one of them. I think Liverpool's one of them as well, right? And there is one other fixture, Sheffield United, which is okay. So the games are not particularly good. But going without De Bruyne is terrifying. It really is.
It is and isn't at the moment because they haven't got Aguero or Jesus. So Sterling or Mahrez or Foden, are playing in that sort of central forward false 9 role, and they're not as effective. But also they are not being what they are effective at doing, is playing out on the wings or attacking from midfield. So at the moment, yes, Man City could do well and De Bruyne could get some assists, but I don't think it's the point of where you're nervously thinking, oh my god, they're going to hammer a team 6-0 here. De Bruyne is going to get absolutely smash it, get every single passing tackling tier known to mankind. I just don't think that's going to happen. And meanwhile, there are other options. So for me, it's just that's what Sky's about, isn't it? It's about patience and planning. And for me, I'm just going to be patient with that one.
Well, you could argue as well, you don't really need him for captain.
No.
For the next 3 weeks. I mean, this week you've got Liverpool at home to West Ham, where most people will be on Salah, but West Ham have been very, very solid, and then Man City away to Sheffield United. I think that might actually be the better game. It's just Man City aren't the better team at the moment necessarily.
No. I have Sterling in my my FPL sides. I sort of wish I had him in Sky in a way. I've just been rubbishing Man City for a bit, but if I had that option, and I must admit, in my B team where I'm going to be trying to do things a bit differently, I'm not going to get De Bruyne in. I'm going to go straight to Salah. Straight from to Sterling rather. So just to be a little bit different in that game, in that side of things. And so I think Sterling is an option, but I don't think he's a must-have, as you said, for the moment, because
he still worries me though. Passes, tackles, penalties. We've seen it before. He's already hit the full house once this season.
I'd be more. I mean, I've got Fernandes in my side, and he at the moment is the one that would worry me more, and I would probably prioritise him because their fixtures get a little bit better a week or so before Man City's. I think they've got West Brom, or they've certainly got some easy fixtures coming.
They're home to Arsenal, which means they'll probably get passing bonus because they sit deep and pass it on their back 5.
And there'll be a penalty, no doubt, with David Luiz there.
Yeah, probably. It's away to Everton, which is pretty tricky, but then it starts like a decent run home to West Brom. I mean, that's passing bonus again for Bruno Fernandes, isn't it? You would have thought. which is basically that's the metric I use. Am I going to want Bruno Fernandes? Well, is he going to get passing bonus? Then probably yes. It's probably a good fixture for him. Anyway, let me just finish off Martinez. It's gone on forever. I apologise.
No, it's a time to think about these things. Yeah,
this is true. James Rodriguez, he didn't get anything, but I'm not worried there. I know he picked up a slight injury potentially, so I guess we'll have to wait for news. But if it's just a short-term thing, he'll stay. Kane, Salah, they're pretty much immovable objects. Thank you very much for the points once again. Jimenez, he's done his job. He's not been outstanding, but he's Mr. One Goal Jimmy, isn't he? And he chips in here or there, and he did his job as captain again. And he's basically my transferable player, so he's the one that will probably end up going to Danny Ings for this Friday night game coming up, which is a bit of an inconvenience because I don't really want to have to do it, but I suppose we're probably going to have to. Are you going to be going there? I think you were talking about maybe not.
Maybe not. I have the option in my B team because I have about 3 million in the bank, but my A team, I don't know if I will. Because I don't know if I'm going to. Yes, I can get. You can get a 2-for-1. Those eyeing up Ings. There are a number of players you can swap. Chelsea players in particular. We might as well come to my team now. So we can talk about that. So I've got Patricio in goal, Robertson, Dallas, and White, and then in a 3-4-3, Antonio, Grealish, Pulisic, Fernandes, Kane, Calvert-Lewin, and Salah. Now, obviously, when we constructed the team on the overhaul, we didn't have the foresight of all the fixtures that were coming out. And one of the fixtures, as you've alluded to, is Southampton, Newcastle on a Friday night coming up. Now, if I'd have known that, I would have made sure I had enough money for perhaps Pulisic to Ings and gone Rodriguez instead of Calvert-Lewin, for example. So that's one of these things. So I don't have that option now. I can't do Pulisic to Ings for two reasons. One is I can't have 4 forwards, and the other is I'm actually 0.1 short. So that just shows you the kinds of things we're having to deal with that are different this season. So I've got 0.7 in the bank. I'm once again not really looking to do anything unless if Antonio is out. And if Antonio's out, I may move to either another cheap defender, West Ham defender, or someone for the long term. And then that gives me the option of moving Robertson to a midfielder. So doing that kind of move. Or I would possibly go for someone like Romeo at Southampton. As an alternative to getting Ings in. I wonder if any other matches will be moved to that Friday night, though we don't know at this stage because there's a hell of a lot of matches on the Saturday and the Sunday. They're tiering them because of the TV schedule, so there's a match after a match after match. It goes on forever, and so it's possible one will move. So, and if when
we get that news though, because some people will look to go early to move in. For example, you talk about 2-for-1s there.
Yeah.
And you've got Salah sat in your team. Some people may have looked at it and seen on Saturday the 31st, you got Salah, Liverpool at home to West Ham, and then you could move Salah to Ings for the Sunday, where they play Aston Villa. Then obviously you get that game, and then you get obviously Ings as captain at home to Newcastle next week on the Friday. Then you could go back to Salah on the Sunday. Which, it's a use of a few transfers there, but you're throwing in a captain on premium players, so I'm not opposed to that at all.
No.
But the concern is, like you say, they then switch another game to the Friday, and then you didn't really need it.
No, so, just to recap, so on Saturday, the 31st of October, we have, we'll come to the fixtures shortly, but we've got Sheffield United against City, Burnley against Chelsea, Liverpool against West Ham, and on the Friday, this coming up, game week 8, we have Wolves against Palace. Any of those players can be moved to a Southampton or Newcastle player of your choice, which is basically Danny Ings, can be moved to Danny Ings, because Southampton play on Sunday. So what you're getting is that 2-for-1 that we speak about a lot. You use that player, Liverpool player, say for example Salah, plays West Ham, done, get his points, move him on wake up on Sunday before the Villa Southampton game, make that transfer. Then you get Danny Ings there from Southampton. He then plays that Sunday. You got the Monday games, and then we move into game week 9, and it's Friday night. And as it stands, we have Southampton against Newcastle, and then further into that game week, Liverpool play Man City. So that's not a great fixture. You might not captain Salah for that one. So that is a move. Yeah, it's a classic 2-for-1 you're getting there, and you're getting a captainable asset.
Yeah.
And Ings also he's not too shabby. You wouldn't mind. It's like, oh, it's not the end of the world if you've got to keep Ings for a bit longer than you planned to, because you've got other things to do.
There's also stuff like, I mean, I don't know how other people may feel about this, but if you're in that situation that you're in and Antonio's ruled out, you could, for example, move to St. Maximum.
Yeah.
I mean, Southampton at home, we know they sometimes play this crazy high line. Yeah. We've seen it a few times. Now, Newcastle, I don't think are the best team by any means to exploit it, but they have got some very, very fast players up front.
Yes.
In fact, that's pretty much all they've got in their locker, is the fact that their players are very fast up front. So there's part of me that thinks that St. Maximum could do okay in that game.
Yeah.
But you'd still want Danny Ings, wouldn't you? I mean, Che Adams is another one you could throw out there, maybe, but it's just this whole situation of you're not captaining that best asset, and sometimes it can come back to bite you.
Yeah, and also it's like, I would look at, if I had Danny Ings in my team and I've got other things to do, I'm quite happy with that. I will not like to have Che Adams in my side for a long period of time. So that's just the way it is, because he's, as you said, he's not the best captaincy option. So if Southampton play on a Monday night in the future and you've still got Danny Ings, great. But if not, so yeah, my side, I've got that potential. I've only used one transfer, which is, I believe...
Yeah, you're sitting pretty,
so I'm quite happy to do, if I was minded, wait for Salah to get his points against West Ham, swap to Danny Ings. Danny Ings, 2 matches and a captaincy, and then possibly look to move back to Salah or Mane. I do like the look of Mane as well. I've got Robertson, so I'm not panicking about lacking Liverpool coverage. I like Robertson getting these bonus now and again as well. He's got assist and even goal potential, because I'm leaving out clean sheet potential for the moment with Liverpool. So I've got options there. Another issue is Antonio. We got some. Before we have a look at our captaincy, I just wanted to come to this one of our community questions. Just look ahead a little bit to our community questions. Now, one of those, I'll just find out who it was that actually asked this. Yeah, there we go. Benny Blanco, familiar name. The Antonio injury news has thrown a spanner in the works. Do we hold if he only misses the Liverpool game to take advantage of his good run, or move away now? If so, what are the options? Yeah, okay. Well, first of all, don't make any early moves. Lots of people move Rodriguez out and then he ended up playing. We do not know. Wait until the team news. Also, we'll have more information about that Friday night kickoff in Gameweek 9. So we'll find that out. But what I've done is I've put up some names of midfielders. So if you were looking for a sort of like for like around that price, don't have much money in the bank, and you're looking to go around that price, I keyed into the Sky search bit, 8 million midfielders. Antonio is the best. So anyone else you get who's a little bit less is going to get probably a little less potential points. Out of those options there, Bowen at 7.9, he's already got 32 points. That's good, especially with West Ham's fixtures improving. But out of the other ones there, Costa, Townsend, Kearney maybe, if he was a bit cheaper, and he is getting the bonus, he is doing really well with that, but it's Fulham. You've got Klitsch, Højbjerg, who is an interesting one, 29 points, 7.4, and Romeo, if you want to go for that Southampton coverage, but you can't afford or don't want to get Ings, doesn't fit with your system, 6.9 for Romeo, 29 points. I think he would be the one I would potentially be looking at if I wanted to free up some money. But of course in Sky you can move to a defender or a forward depending on your setup. But so there's options. Anyone appeal to you? Say you find out Antonio's out for a month, this Friday, what do you do?
Yeah, I think just moving to Bowen would be probably what I would do, because I really like him as a player anyway. I just think he's unlucky that Antonio's out, so that would be my preference. I think Armstrong could still be good for Southampton. I know he's fairly injury prone, but I think I'd probably chance him over Romeo just because I'm a bit of a dreamer, even though Romeo would probably outscore him, to be honest. But yeah, other than that, I mean, the only other names I could throw out that are really cheap and are interesting is Lookman from Fulham, maybe. He looks like he's kind of interesting, could be a bit of a wild card. It's just more to do with the fact he's 6.5 million. I think he's maybe worth a shout. And then other than that, I think it's just, I mean, like I said, Bamford's 8.2. If you've got 0.2 and you want to go up front, he's an option. And other than that, it's looking in defence, isn't it? There's a number of guys around that 8 million mark. I mean, Gabriel's one of them, who just, I think he's bang on 8, isn't he? I'm pretty sure he is.
Yeah.
Who just gets passing bonus every game. I know they can't keep any clean sheets at the moment, but you'd like to think that might change. And then if you really want to go cheap, we've already spoke about it, just you could chance one of these Kilmans or Mitchells.
Yeah. And of course Kufau at West Ham as well. And that was 6.1. I think he would be the one I'd be very tempted by if I wanted to change structure a little bit. Let's have a look at, we'll come back to those community questions in a sec, but let's just have a look ahead at those fixtures that are taking place in game week 8. Wolves, do Friday, simple. Wolves against Palace. If you got Jimenez, captain him. If you're like me, you got Patricio, captain him. That's about it, really. You're Jimenez, presumably, for you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you've got Zaha, you might be tempted, right? The form he's in, the way he's been playing. I'm in the mindset this season of, and you'll see when it comes to Leicester and Leeds. Yeah, I've got Dallas, who I think will probably outscore Barnes. Barnes has been bad, but I'm in the mindset this season of I'm always going to captain the player that I feel is the attacker and has got a chance of getting these 2 or 3 goals in a game and getting a massive haul. Yeah. I don't want to be in that situation where the other player, Barnes gets 2 or 3 goals and I've captained Dallas and he's got a few bonus points. Yeah. So I'm just going to be a dreamer every single time. I think,
that's surprising because Barnes it's not like Barnes is a stranger to getting braces and hat-tricks.
Yeah, and I feel like that Leeds game, we know what Leeds are like. They push forward, they attack, and they might leave some spaces for him, I hope. But yeah, anyway, I digress. So yeah, it'll be Jimenez for the Friday game.
On the Saturday, Sheffield United against Man City, Burnley, Chelsea, Liverpool, West Ham. Salah for me. I think he's the obvious one. But as you said, West Ham a little bit better. I think if you've got someone like Sterling, that's interesting. I guess Chilwell at Chelsea would be a tempter for you. But as you said, you were looking for attackers, really. So Salah for you that day?
Yeah, it's just going to be Salah. I'm just not going to not think about it. I mean, West Ham have been better defensively, haven't they? But you still like to think that Salah in a home game is at least going to get shots on target there. So I'll take that.
Sunday is Kane and Son and some other blokes. But I'll read the fixtures. It's Villa against Southampton, Newcastle against Everton, Manchester United against Arsenal, Tottenham against Brighton, my team. Brighton's defence on paper, if you look at the underlying stats, is okay, but the reality is too many errors they will concede, and Son and Kane are massively in form. I've got Kane and he's my captain. That's the way it is. Same for you, I presume.
Same for me. If you have Bruno Fernandes, I don't think it's a bad alternative. Of course. Grealish home to Southampton could be a good option, but it's with Kane, the form he's in. I think he's the top scoring player in Sky as well. Son as well. Yeah. If you've got one of those two, then just don't think about it and put it on them, I'd say.
On the Monday, Fulham, West Brom, Leeds, Leicester. It's the Leeds-Leicester game that looks the most enticing. Well, with me, I've only got Dallas, so he's going to be my captain that day. But as you said, if I did have the attacking option, Vardy. If you've still got Vardy, captain him, I would imagine, because you've got the chance of penalties.
This feels like a game that Vardy could do well in to me. Yeah. It feels like one of those games where Leeds are going to be on the front foot, pushing forward, leaving some gaps, and that plays into Vardy's hands.
Yeah.
And also Barnes, I'm hoping, because he can obviously break away with the ball. But let's be true here. I mean, Mitrovic at home to West Brom, if you've got him, again, he gets shots every game. I think he's the second highest player in the league for shots after Kane, maybe. I think it is. You want Mitrovic there, and obviously Bamford. I mean, this guy doesn't go away. So if you've got Mitrovic or Bamford, they're probably the better picks.
I think a lot of people will have moved to Bamford. I mean, that just tends to be in whatever format. Those of us who are a little bit more cautious with our transfers may not have moved to Bamford immediately. Leeds fixtures I do not like the look of coming up.
No, I wouldn't be bringing these guys in. I think it's just if you've got them in your team, then you obviously make use of them in these games.
Definitely. Let's have a look at those community questions again. Hornet asks, are we back to the old style 3 cheap defenders who can pick up the odd bonus and load up on heavy hitters? For example, Kane, Bruno, Salah, KDB, etc., etc. There's lots of options there. I've got my eye on that. As I was explaining, the move to if Antonio is injured or is moved to a 4th defender and then move Robertson on to a Man City player and then sort of restructure along those lines. I think when I first started playing Sky, I went this way. I only had really 3 cheap defenders and just loaded up on the heavy hitters. And yeah, I'm up for that.
And we talked about this overhaul, didn't we?
You already
said
are,
about
actually.
this.
Yeah, you're already on it.
Yeah, I've basically gone that route.
So yeah, well, that's your answer. you are doing it. FPL Amateur is a switch from Jimenez to KDB or Fernandes needed after Friday, as they might be considered essential. But how do you balance that against having transfers left? And he only thinks he might captain Fernandes once against West Brom in the next few fixtures. It's kind of what you were talking about, really. The power of the. Well, I was talking about Fernandes, but you were De Bruyne. Even in trickier fixtures, we've seen the damage he can do. Jimenez is definitely. I would say Jimenez is surplus to requirements, surely after this single game day. But yeah, you're moving on. You're thinking Ings, KDB.
Yeah, I mean, I've just put that position down as that rotatable one where it could be any of them. And at the moment, Ings fits the bill because he's got the captain day, and that's what I would say to him is. I mean, you already did it there a little bit, to be fair, is just look at when you captain these guys. Because at the end of the day, De Bruyne and Fernandes, they can punish you in any single game. But it's going to be those days where they're heavily captained and they can double hurt you that you really want to look at them. Aside from that, hopefully your other options can get close to them or you may get lucky and even beat them. So, it's about those captain days. So he said, what did he say? Saturday against West Brom. He's looking at.
I can't remember when. It's coming up. It's not this immediate game week, but. Okay,
well, on that day you've got Salah. You've got Liverpool at home to Leicester, so you've got Salah there. You've got Chelsea versus Newcastle at the moment as well. You have got other options. So he could kill you in that game, but I think Salah will be heavily captained on that day, so I don't think it's absolutely 100% needed.
I'm looking at. I'm actually looking at Calvert-Lewin against Fulham.
Yeah.
It's some research we're doing on the Scoutcast this week. West Brom's defence has improved. I'm not saying that they're going to keep clean sheets every week, but their defence has improved. Fulham's hasn't. Fulham are still there as the whipping boys. And Calvert-Lewin and Rodriguez are in form. So for me, I think that's a Calvert-Lewin day. As it stands, there's no way those fixtures are going to stay that way. So who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? Daniel Magan asks, is double Liverpool defence still a viable option? He's got Alexander-Arnold and Robertson, and he's struggling to part with either. Well, just part away. I mean, for me, I think I think there's too many good options in attack. I can't see why you would have no Van Dijk, no Alisson, no Fabinho, no. I don't even know what defenders they've got left.
I think Matic might be back for the weekend, maybe. I'm with you. I think 2's too much at the moment. I think 1's potentially too much. The thing is, things move very quickly in football, don't they? And you could spend a lot of time then transferring these guys out, only to then want them back because Trent Alexander-Arnold did look very good last night. We know these are great players, and we know they can haul at any given time. So I do kind of see what he's saying, and. It's hard to part company with these guys.
If he's struggling to part with either of them, there's no way he's going to part with both. So I would say try and keep one. For me, I've got Robertson. I'm just sticking that way. But if he does prefer Alexander-Arnold, and if he believes there's going to be an upturn in his form, assist-wise in particular, compared to Robertson, then keep. But I in Daniel's case, I would say keep one because there's no way he's going to go without if he's struggling to get rid of both of them. So anyway, hopefully we've tackled a lot of your key issues for the coming week. Hopefully game week 8 will be better than game week 7. Well, for me anyway. But for now, Luke, thanks so much for joining me, and good luck with your game week.
Good luck to you, Joe. See you on the next one.